All rise.
This is Deeper Than Money. Talk to me. I want viewers watching my show to believe in themselves.
Judge Hatchett is compelling.
If he is not going to honor you, he needs to be gone.
Compassionate.
I don't want you to give up on your dreams. I don't. And I want to figure out how we get this straight.
She's powerful.
If I were in this situation, I would have put you out too.
And she's on the bench.
I feel like I'm being judged here.
That's what I do.
You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Mildred Tillman is suing Sandra Willis in the amount of $6,000. Ms. Tillman claims her sister found money in their late father's home and says her sibling refused to give her half to cover their dad's funeral costs.
All right, you're suing the defendant for some $6,000 because you're saying there's been a breach of contract. What's the relationship between you and the defendant?
Good morning, Your Honor. This is my sister.
Always pains me when I see siblings on different sides of my court, and clearly you all couldn't work this out before you got here.
I would have liked to. I tried to text her, but her response was like she's not gonna.
Well, tell me about your relationship. Describe your relationship with your sister.
Well, I just met her 5 years ago.
Why is that?
I didn't know that I even had a sister or that my father was even alive. I grew up in Greenville, North Carolina.
Okay.
And one of our cousins came up and said, that he was alive and that actually he was sick with dementia. And when I found out about it, I went all the way over to Harrisburg and found them and did whatever I could. I would go up there. It's a 6-hour drive.
So you find out that your father is alive, and then you go and try to make contact because you understand that he is sick. All right, and so how did you two connect?
So when I went there and I found my dad, thank God Sandra was over there taking care of my dad because, he does have dementia. He did require care. And I really, really was so grateful that she was there taking care of him and being dedicated to him. So
you didn't know anything about Mildred?
No, I did not.
You didn't know that she existed? Your father never said that he had another child?
Not a word.
And so what's the age difference between you all approximately?
2 years.
2 years. So he goes on with a new life, and now he is in a different city, but you find out that he's alive and you all connect. So what was your reaction when you find out that you have a sister?
Well, to be honest with you, I was shocked. It just came out of nowhere. It hit me and my dad like an explosion. Like we just weren't prepared, but I'll give her credit. She did try to get to know us and she would come and visit, whenever she felt like it.
Good, but you were his primary caretaker.
Yes.
And did you live in his home? Did he live in your home?
Yes, I lived in his home. I had to move in with him to take care of him.
All right, but you're saying that you give her credit, that she did reach out, that she was trying to establish a relationship. So how would you describe the relationship with your sister?
It wasn't bad. It was cordial.
Okay, all right. And you would agree?
Yes, it was cordial. I did feel as though I was stepping into their world. And sometimes Sandra was welcoming and sometimes she wasn't. But I was just all about trying to get to know my father that I hadn't known my whole life.
That is tough. That is tough. I mean, you had to have had some empathy for her, that she thought the whole time, since she, probably back before she could even remember, that she never had a father, and she always thought that he was dead. Yes?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
Yeah, but
and people who know me know that I'm a daddy's girl.
And I am too.
And
he was my world.
And so that's what I'm saying, is that my father meant the world to me. And I can't imagine having grown up thinking that he was dead, and having missed all that time with him, only to find out later that he was alive. But then when you find out that he's alive, you find out that he's ill, and he has dementia, and so there's probably a very limited amount of conversation you can have. So I'm sure there are all these questions that you had for him that he wasn't able to answer for you because of his illness. So it's a very complicated situation. Is this your only sibling?
Yes.
Okay, so your
Yes.
father only had the two of you. And now you all are on opposite sides of my courtroom, which is unfortunate. So what happened? Tell me what happened.
So after 5 years of going back and forth to see them, he got sicker and sicker, and eventually he passed away. So when he passed away, I knew that Sandra had not been working and had been taking care of our dad.
Right.
And so she told me, she didn't really have any money to contribute towards his funeral expenses.
Right.
And I just told her, look, I understand, I work, I'm married, I get it. I will just pay what you can, and then I'll take care of the rest.
All right, and was that the understanding that you had, Sandra? I'm assuming in this situation that you, because you were your father's primary caretaker, that you weren't able to work. Is that the situation?
That is correct.
Because you were caring for him full time.
Exactly.
And I would understand that as his illness progressed, that it was even more of your time that you had to dedicate to taking care of him.
Absolutely.
Coming up on The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
Sandra had found $10,000 that our dad had hidden and had that money, but she never told me about that.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Mildred Tillman, who is suing her sister, Sandra Willis, for breach of contract.
So you weren't working and you didn't have the resources.
No.
Was there insurance policy that could have covered the funeral?
No insurance.
No insurance. Did he have assets that could have covered the insurance?
He just had the house, and he had, a few $100s in a couple of his bank accounts.
Okay, so then Mildred comes in and says, okay, do what you can. And that she took over the responsibility of the funeral expenses. That's where we are.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then what happens?
So, and I just wanted to add in there too, he did have the house and Sandra's name, and rightfully so. I mean, because that's all he knew about. Her name was on the house too. So she was going to have the house as well.
Okay.
So
Did he have a will?
No will, none whatsoever.
All right, I'm going to come back to that because that's a conversation. We got to have these conversations.
Sometimes our people.
I know, and that's why we're going to have this conversation too, but I want to continue with the case. But I do want to make sure that we have this conversation about a will, because that's the question. What did the will say? But it sounds to me, Sandra, that she is taking the responsible position that you were there. He didn't know about her, and that he left the property that he owned to you.
Yes.
And she says that she thought that that was the right thing to do because he had no idea well, that's not true. He did know that she existed. Come on now. He did know that she existed. But he then had started a whole nother life.
Yes. Your Honor, can I say something?
Please.
Okay, she said that she would cover the costs for all the funeral expenses, but I said I would do what I can.
Right, and that's what she said.
And I did, but she didn't say that it was a loan. She didn't say she was going to charge me $6,000 later. She said that she would take care of it. And I did my part, and I see it as she did her part.
All right, so let's go into this. So the funeral happens. Tell me about the expenses.
So the funeral happens, and I wanted, he's a child of God, and I'm a child of God, and she's a child of God, and I wanted him to have the best service as possible. So it was $12,000 to have the service. And I, figured out how to pay it, and it was a beautiful service. And, so it was that expense, $12,000.
So $12,000. So now after the service is over, that's why you're suing her for the $6,000.
Yes.
Because you feel that she should pay for half.
Well, what happened was the service was over. I went home, and Sandra's ex-husband texted me and
okay.
said, oh, Sandra had found $10,000 that our dad had hidden and had that money, but she never told me about that. She just, did what she could, and she got his suit and got the flowers, and that was it. And I didn't even know that she had that extra money. And keep in mind, she's already getting the house. And so I feel like I'm being, my goodness is being just taken advantage of because...
So what about this $10,000, Sandra, that you found in the house? Did you find $10,000 in the house?
Yes.
And so why not then say, okay, I have this cash now, which I didn't have before. I will contribute my half of the funeral expenses. You are getting his house.
Well, because when I got the $10,000, I found it, and I considered it to be a gift to me from my father, for me dedicating my life and taking care of him.
I understand.
And with the funeral, she didn't ask my opinion at all. That was her tribute to Dad, but it wasn't us together putting the funeral on. She wanted to spend that money.
So when you asked her to pay half, after you found out about the $10,000, what did she say to you?
She said basically, no, she's not going to give me any money because that was her money. And at this point, I feel like I already had been abandoned by my dad. And I found him, and then I thought, that's great. I had a sister, and I thought, okay, we're blood, and hopefully we can even be more than that, have a relationship. And then she was dishonest with me. So I feel like I'm being abandoned again. So I got angry. And so that's why I was just like, you know what, I'm not gonna be a doormat. So if you want this relationship or you don't want this relationship, at least pay me the share that I should receive for having the funeral and paying all those expenses for our dad.
I'm going to hold that for a minute. I want to talk to you both, and then I'm going to obviously rule on this case. But what happens is that secrets, that's the way to describe this, secrets come back to haunt family. Secrets.
Coming up.
She probably figured, I'm doing this to protect you. Because how do you explain to a precious 2-year-old little girl that there's no father?
You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Mildred Tillman, who is suing her sister, Sandra Willis, for breach of contract.
Your father kept a secret. Mm-hmm. A secret that has caused a lot of pain. I don't know why he did it. I don't know why he did it. But he left you and your mother. Your mother then told you a lie. Probably in her mind, she probably figured, I'm doing this to protect you. Because how do you explain to a precious 2-year-old little girl that there's no father? Mm-hmm. Right? How do you explain that when she goes to school and all of her playmates and all the neighbors and all the children at church and at camp and every place that you are, they have daddies. Mm-hmm. And you don't have a daddy. But Sandra, there is also some fairness about this, that you had him. And even though I appreciate the fact that you dedicated your life for some 5 years to take care of this man because you loved him. And I get that. I mean, if anybody understands that, I understand what you're saying. And I understand what that must have meant to watch him deteriorate like that to a point where there were times at the end, I know he didn't even know who you were because of this illness.
Coming up.
She's been through a lot. You've been through a lot. It seems to me that you all need each other. I mean, she's the only, think about it, she's the only sister you have.
You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Mildred Tillman, who is suing her sister, Sandra Willis, for breach of contract.
So I do believe that this is a situation where equity requires, given the fact that she is his daughter and she got nothing because your father kept this secret for decades. And I know you're saying, but I didn't get a chance to have the input. She did it. But she did come in at a time when there was no money to have buried your father that day. She came in and she took the responsibility for all the money. So I'm going to rule on the money, but more importantly, I want to know what can happen now, because your father's gone. Your father's gone. He's gone. And there are no other siblings. Your mother is deceased. What about your mother? Is your mother still alive?
She's still alive.
She's still alive. And you had this conversation with her? Like, she kept the secret
That's a
for a
long
long
story.
time. That's a very long story for another day. Let me just try to deal with what I got in front of me. Is there any way that you all can be supportive of each other? She's been through a lot. You've been through a lot. It seems to me that you all need each other. I mean, she's the only, think about it, she's the only sister you have. Your mother's gone, your father's gone.
And I have nobody.
Come on now, come on. You need her. And she needs you. Okay. Ooh, yes.
Judge Hatchett's verdict when we return. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
You're going to pay the $6,000. But this is more important than money.
Yes.
It's more important than money. That hug was worth more than the $6,000.
Okay.
And you're going to get in your car and you're going to drive to Greenville and you're going to take her down to the riverfront in Greenville. I know those wonderful restaurants there because my play sister lives there. And you all are going to have a relationship. You need each other. You need each other. All right? Mm-hmm. All right? Do we need to get some counseling? Do we need to get counseling set up?
A little bit.
I think counseling would be really good. Let's get some counseling set up. I think this is just going to be so wonderful. You're going to really, really appreciate the fact that you have this sister because you didn't have your father. Yeah. Right? You had your father, but you never had a sister. And God works in mysterious ways.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
If that cousin hadn't called you that day, you would have never been connected. And so let's just celebrate. I know there are a lot of tears today, but there's some good news in this. All right, so judgment for the plaintiff for the reasons I've established, but more important than money is the fact that these two sisters are going to have this relationship. Anything further?
No, thank you.
If not, we'll stand adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $6,000.
Any final words?
God is good all the time.
I'm glad I have a sister.
This next certificate to court. Make sure you have your documents. Watch your step.
Thank you.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.